is more than wearing matching outfits with your spouse on Instagram. Well, it's so much more, because with this ring, comes responsibilities. So yes. Hey y'all, so welcome back to my channel, Jenna with JoJo Beauty for the Soul. I am here to beautify your souls today by the grace of God, because I will be talking about wifehood. This is no ordinary video. I am collaborating with Dede, Mom Boss, that's her Instagram name. She's the owner of Dede's Signature Cosmetic line. She's an entrepreneur, she is a mother and a wife, and she's a nurse, so she's a full package. We decided to come together and talk about what it's like being a wife and how it's changed us, in hopes that, you know, if you're out there, you're single or you're engaged, you would have an insight on what it means to be a wife. And if you're already married, I'm sure you would be able to relate to a point or two. But I just wanted to say Dede's such a wonderful person. She's a really sweet soul. Yeah, I have not known her that long. I am so happy that we crossed paths, and I know the future holds a lot in store for her and for me and for us as YouTubers just getting to know each other. So God bless you, Dede, and we'll communicate. So Dede and I have really similar points, which is a good thing, because, you know, at the end of the day, that just shows that we are on the same page on a lot of levels. There's just a little tinge of difference here and there in this video, in this collab, and that's perfectly fine, because everybody's not the same. So the first thing I want to say is, when you become a wife, one thing that has changed for me is accountability. When you become an adult, it's really important that you have an accountability partner. But sometimes, you know, you grow up and you feel like you don't need mommy or daddy anymore, and you're just by yourself. You feel like you don't owe anyone an explanation, so you just make choices and decisions that really does not affect anybody else but you. But when you get married, all that goes away. Being married just simply means that I have someone that I have to keep updated about every single decision that I make in my life, no matter how big or small it is. Not necessarily because I always want my husband's input, but because I just need him to know what I am doing. So that's one thing I have learned. Of course, it can be hard sometimes, because we're used to doing what we want, okay? We're just used to doing what we want without having to double check with someone. But being a wife has taught me that I have to keep my husband updated, even when I'm trying to get some good old makeup, even when I'm trying to just spend my little earning on something. I always have to let him know, because one, it shows the respect that I have for him and his opinion, and also the respect that I have for our marriage, and the respect that I have for the title wife, because we're not just married and just sitting down. No. Another thing that I have learned actually is sharing, especially my time. You know, of course, I've already shared my life by saying the vows and all that, but when it comes to the nitty-gritty of things, I have learned to share everything. The Bible says that when you get married, the husband and the wife become one. Now, that merging can be really tough, but I know that the roles that I have to play as a wife can either cause the merging to be a little easier, a little better, or if I decide to just do what I want, then coming together would be really hard, because two cannot walk together unless they agree. So I have to constantly stay in agreement with my husband, and that means that I have to share my time, even if I don't want to. When you get married, ladies, I'm just gonna let you know now, there's no such thing as personal space with your spouse. There's no such thing as privacy with your spouse. You have to share everything. You have to learn how to be vulnerable with your spouse, and that is what I have learned. There's no such thing as, oh, I say half and I leave half and all that. No, if I'm going to share, I have to share with purpose. So if it's my time, for instance, of course, when you're married, if I were single, some days I'll just leave the house so messy, there would be nobody to talk to me about it. And some days I would not cook, there would be no one to talk to me about it. But I'm married, so My responsibilities entail cooking for my husband and cleaning the home, let him come to a fresh, clean home. Sometimes I don't want to do that. Sometimes I'm tired. Sometimes I have to study. Sometimes I have to go to work and I don't want to share my time. I'm like, the little time that I have, I'd rather rest, watch a YouTube video, read a book, read the Bible, just chill and not have to do anything. Our home would not be a home if I do not share my time, if I do not share, because sharing my time shows my husband that he is a priority to me and that he's valuable to me. So I have learned to share my time even when I want to be selfish. I have to share my time because at the end of the day, I want my husband to feel special, like he's the only one in my world. And so I have to sometimes put myself aside, which is really hard if you're getting into marriage. And if you're already married, you know what it is like to just want to take a break, but you cannot. Because that's not how the covenant works. That is not how the vows work. So I just really learned to share all of me with my spouse. Another change that marriage has brought is patience and understanding. You think you're patient, you think you're understanding, but honey, just wait till you get married and you cannot just walk out when you want to and you cannot just take a break when you want to. No, marriage has changed me in a way that has caused me to be more patient and more understanding. So I say this because, you know, sometimes you marry your spouse because you think you know them and you like what you know about them, but then you get married and you start seeing characteristics and attitudes and habits that are not really matching the reason why you marry them. So I have learned to be all around patient because just like my husband, there's some things he's impatient with me in and there's some things that I'm impatient with him in, but I have to be patient to make it work. I have to be patient and understanding because there's just so much that contributes to the nature of my husband. So the way he was raised, where he was raised, how he thinks, his personality, how God created him. There's just so much to learn. And so one of the changes that has happened is I've become a detective through that because I stay trying to learn more about my husband. I stay putting my anger and pride aside just to understand my husband because sometimes, you know, I get impatient. I'm like, why are you like this? So I should not just pounce on the imperfection or flaws that I see, but instead I should be a detective and try to find out the reason and the causes and then try to see how I can better manage myself and be more understanding of our differences. So wifehood has changed me in a way and it has forced me to be patient and understanding. Another thing that being a wife has taught me is to communicate everything. And when I say communicate, it's not a matter of accountability or things like that. It's to communicate when I have an issue with something, when I have a problem with something. Because for us women, it is so easy for us to just have an attitude and then not want to talk to our spouse or just want to be in our own world and we're bluffing. We don't want them to talk to us, to touch us, so on and so forth. I have learned to communicate. So if things make me unhappy, I have learned as a wife to speak up. Because sometimes you're married and you have the deception that, oh, this is my spouse, he understands me, so I don't need to explain anything to him. He will just read my mind and he will do what I want. No, that doesn't work like that. So I have learned to constantly communicate and not just be quick to get an attitude. Because with men, I don't know, sometimes I don't know how God created their ears. My husband does selective hearing. So some things I find myself constantly repeating, reminding him of things. But yes, I have learned to communicate, to verbalize my needs, my expectations and everything. So that's how wifehood has changed me. It's helped me to be better at communicating. But yeah, finally. And honestly, this is just a summary of what wifehood has taught us. You know, we live as wives every single day. There's just so much we could start talking about, but we're just trying to summarize and not make a 15-minute video and just call it a day. But maybe we could do a Q&A, which would actually probably be better. That way we answer specific questions, but this is just an overall. You might be married and think, well, she's not being honest or bringing up all the points or something, but no, we are just giving, you know, a few things that we have learned and the changes that we have seen concerning our lives. It's changed me in a way where I have learned to be interdependent. That is what wifehood boils down to at the end of the day. I'm independent as a person, as an individual, but wifehood causes my husband and I to have a dependency on each other, where I have to fulfill certain roles that if I fail to fulfill, it would affect my husband. And that's one thing I've learned, because you cannot get into marriage trying to be too independent. Even if you make more money than your spouse, even if you have more degrees or accomplishments than your spouse, you still have to be interdependent, and that is the only way you would be able to work together, you know. So that's one thing I've learned. That's one thing that has changed. Like I said, I always have to double check with my husband, always have to, and mostly have to get his opinion on certain things. And yeah, I have learned to be interdependent, and that would not change. Submission would not change. A lot of people think submission is a trigger word for slave, or another word for slave, but it really is not. It's really just being interdependent, meaning you just don't up and do things as if you're alone in the marriage. Like, you cannot call yourself a wife and you're not selfless. You definitely have to sacrifice a piece of you or a piece in your home. Interdependence simply means just walking in accordance and just walking together with your spouse and making sure that both of you are always checking in on each other and all that. So that's how, you know, wifehood is. That's what wifehood has taught me. But anyway, I just want to thank you all for coming onto my channel. Please be sure to go check out Dede's video. But what I'll do is I'll just put a screenshot of her channel name and handle and everything. Leave a link in the description, but it's not going to be clickable. You'd have to copy and paste. I use iMovie to edit, so I cannot make links clickable. I edit on my phone actually, so I cannot make links clickable. But you guys, please go check out her video. This was such a wonderful topic. It's my first collab ever, and I just want to say more to the future. So God bless you and your families. Bye.